A week ago I was painting furiously, wanting to create my first masterpiece. I'm angry at the world for not understanding my art, angry at my family for not believing in me, and most of all angry at myself for not proving them wrong. But this time they'd see what I was capable of achieving. I worked 3 days in a row getting every detail perfect. My canvas as big as a wall. I was trying to recreate a fresco painting I saw in my dreams. It is all red tones and dark browns, showing a seemingly tranquil day at the park, and some people gathered in it seemingly having a pleasant day, if not for a close look at their anguished faces. And at the center an orangish lake with a figure floating above. At the time I still couldn't picture the figure. On my 4th night I just had a feeling that I would see it clearly in my dream. I worked until exhaustion, getting every detail I could remember. The body was covered in a robe, its limbs skinny and broken at the joints, but the face still eluded me. I just couldn't remember. I felt really angry. Just this little thing and it would be finished, and I'd finally be known for more than just the guy who sells weird painting at tourists. I drank myself to sleep. I just couldn't finish it. That night I heard some noise at the garage. I entered the room and saw my painting. The white spot in where the head was missing seemed to be glowing in a warm white light. I felt hypnotized and slowly began walking towards it, but something moved in the corner of my eye. The figures in the painting were moving around and walking towards the figure in the lake with a pained expression. I felt afraid, but I instinctively inched closer. I needed to see its face. As I got closer, the light got brighter, and as my eyes adjusted, I began to notice his features, his pointy chin, no beard, no hair, no eyebrows, only a big warm smile and loving eyes. He looked at the people near him with love and suddenly lifted his hand and pointed at one. That person began to sprint towards him, walking over the water, and as he got close to him he picked him up and swallowed him whole. I felt a cold shiver in my back. The floating figure looked straight at me. I couldn't move a muscle. I closed my eyes and suddenly felt a warmth in my hands. I slowly opened my eyes and the figure was standing right in front of me, holding my hands. "Don't be afraid, I'd never hurt he who wants to bring me to this world. My name is Zale and I'm an envoy of God. I'm regaining strength so I can go and give love to the world. Please help me, you'll be rewarded with greater glory than you can imagine." After saying that, he gently closed my eyes and I quickly opened them back again. I was in my bed, soaked wet with sweat. I quickly got up and went to the room where the painting was still incomplete. I felt angry that it was all a dream. I stormed outside, the horrible hot desert air hitting me in the face. I just wanted a way out of this god-forsaken town. I started thinking, why the hell did I want to prove everyone wrong? Nobody really cared if I rotted away in this house, never making a name for myself. They only want to feel good about themselves. Looking down on me, he never really grew up. He didn't get his act together, chasing dreams that only children follow. He should get a regular job and live a normal life. Oh, I had heard what they said, but I knew they only wanted that cause they were envious. Envious of anyone like me who wouldn't just settle to selling trinkets to the visitors. I closed my eyes. I saw the face again with bare teeth, trying to show a friendly smile. "You have work to do. Go and finish your duty on this world." I ran directly to the studio and started painting away. Different tones of white all blending together, creating the pale white skin of the face with a warm smile, no teeth showing. But I knew what that smile hid, and that gave me a sense of unease. I finished the painting in about 6 hours and I called the local gallery. "I'm finished. I finished at last." With this at the center, I now have the requirements for having my own exhibit at the local gallery. The curator Joaquin responded, "I'm on my way, let me take a look before I make any calls. See you in a bit." I stood admiring my work and then proceeded to organize the rest of my paintings. They were good works, but nothing compared to the sheer epicness of his fresco with that at the center. Nobody would even glance at them. Joaquin arrived 25 minutes after the call, pretty fast considering how far the gallery was. I've been trying to imagine what you came up with all the way. Please show me, so I can start making calls. I took him to the studio and led him to the fresco. "This thing's huge," was the first thing that came out. He seemed to want to say something else, but he suddenly was fixated on the work. He started looking at the people from the painting, observing the landscape, and then his eyes locked on the center. He observed it for a while, and said, "It's kind of disturbing but calming in a way," he said as he turned to look at me. "You've been looking at it for almost an hour," I said. Joaquin looked confused, but finally said, "I feel a little unsure about the picture's appeal, but it can probably gather enough buzz just for the sheer size of it and the weirdness of it. Besides, you have almost 30 other good works to show, and it has been almost 2 years since we had any exhibit. The gallery will be thrilled. Let me make some calls." 2 days passed and we started to move the things downtown to the gallery. I decided to keep the painting covered so it could be a big reveal an hour after the gallery opened. The workers carried it over, but they were very curious about the picture, asking questions about how it looked and if they could take a peek. The reveal would be a private event. We decided to share it only with the artists of the town and some of the top brass, later opening the gallery to the public. An hour passed by and the people started to walk towards the back of the gallery. I began to feel ecstatic, dying to see the crowd's reaction to my reveal. After a few minutes, everyone was there waiting for me. "Today you'll witness a work of art unlike any other, so take your time to observe it. Please enjoy." As I said that, the curtains covering the art piece opened, showing the immensity of the canvas. People looked at each other with puzzled looks. I could see disgust in their faces. "This is supposed to be the masterpiece? Just because it's creepy doesn't make it any good." You could hear endless banter until suddenly a person said, "Is the painting moving?" Everyone stared at the work and began to realize the small movements, almost imperceptible. The people in the painting seemed to distort every now and then, and the ones admiring the figure appeared to bow slowly. The figure started shining this warm white light. The people turned completely silent, just taking it all in. Then, one by one, they started approaching the canvas, and as soon as they touched it, they vanished. People began disappearing, and no one said a thing. They just walked endlessly to the painting with a horrified look on their faces. I wanted to scream, but just sat there in silence as a simple observer until the exhibit was completely empty except for me. The painting seemed to have grown slightly larger, and people started appearing in different parts of the painting. Suddenly, the middle figure started to walk towards the front of the picture. He looked at me with warm eyes. "They love your work. They just had to be part of it. Bring more people to witness your greatness." As he said that, all the people in the painting looked at me terrified, almost pleading to ignore him. The gallery was a success all week, and with vacation season coming along, I'm about to go big and finally be recognized as a true artist. Wish me luck.